Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. The Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, John Key, announces a $225,000 investment into the Skyline Gravity Park. MasterChef winners Casey and Karina Bird were in town yesterday to promote this year's Pink Walk for Breast Cancer. And the Chiefs make a special video of support for Rotorua-born basketball star Steven Adams. But first, Bay of Plenty police are seeking public assistance to locate an offender who ran from a Whakatane property as police executed a search warrant in relation to firearms offences. Eastern Bay of Plenty Area Commander Inspector Kevin Taylor says there is a warrant to arrest 32-year-old Daniel Morgan, who is considered dangerous and should not be approached. He is Māori, medium build and approximately 182 centimetres tall. Any sightings of him should be reported immediately via the 111 system. MasterChef winners Casey and Karina Bird were in town yesterday to help promote this year's Pink Walk for Breast Cancer. The pair were hosted yesterday by Careers Network.
So this is our pink ribbon morning tea, so I do this annually. It's an event that I think is very close to a lot of people's heart. So today is all about raising money, but it's also about raising awareness. So we have a lot of young girls here and we want them to go home and have that conversation with mum or nan and do all those health checks that they should be doing, because it's really important.
There are a lot of young girls here, and they're all, and some young boys too, draped with pink sachets, and you know, it's all looking very pink.
It's very pink, and it's just our bonus luck really that the Makatu girls are the pink team, so I think it all just fits really well.
It's so nice that all of you have come out in such a for such a worthy cause. Like, we've had family that have had breast cancer, so it's like a cause that we definitely want to get behind, and the fact that pink is the colour of breast cancer matches pretty well as well. It's so cool to be here with like so many young people as well. We thought that breast cancer young hospitality students was like a perfect match for us, so we're just really happy to be here. Casey's a bit shy, so we'll talk. You can come and talk to her one-on-one. Yeah.
The Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, John Key, has announced $225,000 funding from the government's Tourism Growth Partnership. The funding will contribute to the development of a new mountain bike park on the slopes of Mount Nongataha. The new development will be known as Skyline Gravity Park and will offer a year-round gondola-accessed bike park, the only trails accessible by gondola in the North Island. It will also be the only year-round all-terrain mountain bike park in Australasia. Skyline Rotorua General Manager Bruce Thomason says the funding grant is fantastic news, allowing Skyline and its partners to develop a world-class site. Mr Thomason says the new mountain bike park enables Skyline Rotorua to offer even more to visitors and makes the most of its unique location. In sport tonight, the Chiefs made a special video of support for Kiwi basketball star Steven Adams, who is one of the standout rookies this season in the NBA. Steven Adams, who was born in Rotorua, is a die-hard Chiefs fan and has even worn his Chiefs jersey in interviews in the US.
Hey Steven, it's Gareth Ensign from the Chiefs here. I just want to wish you all this for your upcoming game. All right behind you. Keep doing what you're doing. Good luck.
Hey Steve, good luck for the upcoming finals, mate. It's great to see you doing what you do, and the boys took great pleasure out of seeing you wearing that Chiefs jersey in the changing room, so yeah, get stuck into them like you always do. Cheers.
Weather update now. Tonight will be fine with southwesterlies and an overnight low of 4. Tomorrow, Friday, becoming cloudy with late drizzle, winds tending northwest, a high of 15 and a low of 12. And the outlook for Saturday, cloudy with some drizzle, strong northwesterlies, a high of 17 and a low of 11. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Friday, becoming northwest 15 knots with waves less than half a metre, becoming cloudy with late drizzle. Remember, for program listings and other info or to upload images, check out our website tvrotorua.co.nz, and you can look us up on Facebook. Still to come in tonight's program, we visit Polynesian Spa and talk with marketing manager Simona de Jong. We're at Agro Ventures to find out about the VIP Locals weekend, and we talk politics and budget with Waiariki MP Te Aroa Flavel.
Well, there's nothing better than a hot soak on a cold winter's day, especially if it's here at the Polly Pools. Now we're going to head inside and we're going to get a bit of a guided tour by their sales and marketing manager Simona Dijon, and we're going to catch up and find out a little bit more about their new pool that's under construction, the Press Pool. Hi Simona, thanks for joining us today on City News. Now it's always exciting to come down here to the Polly Pools because it's one of the probably the most famous icon here in Rotorua. Yeah. But there's some new initiatives and you've got some new pools on the way, so explain a little bit more.
Yes, so Polynesian Spa started 42 years ago, and at the time we started with 13 pools, and since it's expanded quite a lot, we've now got 26 pools and we're about to add number 27.
Wow.
So we're going to be adding that to our lake spa, which is our luxury bathing area. And the cool thing about this pool is that it's filled with water from the Press Spring. So here at the spa we've got two different types of mineral water. The water from the Press Spring actually comes from a spring on the side, actually in the middle there. It's named after a Catholic priest, Father Mahoney. He travelled down...
Is it holy water?
You could say that, yeah. He travelled down in the early 1800s from Tauranga. Had to be carried by his friends because he suffered from a bad form of arthritis. And after swimming in this particular spring, he claimed to be cured of the arthritis.
Wow.
And he managed to walk back to Tauranga on his own.
From here?
Yeah.
That's a long walk.
Yeah.
Now the press pools, obviously, like you said, are just behind us.
Yeah.
They're not being used anymore. Why is that?
Yeah. So those pools closed in 2003. They were originally part of the ward baths, which was the bathhouse and sites before Polynesian Spa.
Yeah.
They've got the original Palmer's bottom, which is the same bottom as what the lake has, and the actual spring sits right underneath it. So it was a little bit difficult to keep clean and to control the temperature. So hence why they've started these three new contemporary pools.
Yeah. Now we've got the builders coming backwards and forwards behind you. What are they doing over in that top corner?
At the moment they're putting concrete into the new press pool. So they'll be finished with that today, and then once it's all dry they're going to put in the fiberglass and build the rocks all around it to give it a nice natural setting.
Yeah. And how long is that process going to take?
Probably we expect the pools to be finished sort of middle of June.
So not too far away?
Yeah.
Now 27 pools sounds like a huge number of pools. Are they all used throughout the whole year?
Yes, they are. Yeah. So we've got 4 different bathing areas. So we've got 9 standard private pools, 4 deluxe pools. We've got 7 pools here in the adults only bathing area, and then 4 pools in the lake spa and 3 pools in the family spa. So.
Has it been a good summer for the Polly Pools?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've seen really good numbers through the door. Easter in particular was really good for us. Yeah.
Now obviously we're coming into the off season, coming into winter. Does it quieten down for you guys just like the rest of the city?
Yeah, it does a bit, although because it's hot water, a lot of locals actually come in and warm up in the pools.
Now when we turned up, Simona, we walked through the front door and smack bang in the middle was a big orange sign saying top 10 spas. So what's that all about?
Yeah, it's through Condé Nast Traveller, which is a famous magazine in the UK. Each year they ask all of their readers their favourite spas in the world, and so we were voted by those readers in the top 10 now 6 times in the last decade.
Wow, that's a pretty cool accolade to have. Has the Polly Pools won a number of awards over the years?
We've also been voted second in the AA 101 Things to Do for Kiwis. Ham Springs was number 1. There's actually quite a lot of the mineral pools in New Zealand that appeared in that list, so that does actually show that a lot of New Zealanders use hot mineral bathing as part of their wellness lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the wellness lifestyle, because obviously that's important, especially here,
yes.
Living in Rotorua, and there's a high proportion of locals who don't live healthy, but coming to things like this, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So we've got, a few people that come here, I guess looking for a cure, perhaps, if they suffer from arthritis or rheumatism. They quite like using the press pools for their sore muscles. But we also get, people like athletes, or people that are just making it as part of their fitness regime, just to come here and, prevent injuries, sports injuries. And
what's the reaction like when international tourists come through and they walk, down through the path here and they come to this spectacular view? And honestly, it is amazing.
Yeah.
What's the reaction? What do people tell you?
yeah, I just find it absolutely stunning. I think we're quite lucky to be like right on the lakeside. This part of the lake, it's a wildlife reserve, so that means that we don't have any boats in the water, or people can't swim in
There's
the water.
lots of seagulls.
There's lots of seagulls, yeah.
But that adds to the atmosphere, doesn't it?
It's part of the, yeah.
Right, Simona, appreciate your time. Now we're almost at the end of the interview, but I'd like to have a bit of a guided tour if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, let's do it.
Okay.
Well, I really hope that you've got a free weekend this weekend, because out here at the Agri Adventures it's the exclusive VIP Locals weekend, and if anything is to go by from last year, it's going to be a massive weekend, so I really hope you got it off. Now I'm going to be catching up with Simon Short, who's the Managing Director out here, and he will explain more. Hi Simon, thanks for joining us today. Now obviously the VIP Locals weekend, it's one of the big weekends you guys have out here. What's the reason behind it?
Well, the main catalyst behind is to do a bit of marketing towards Rotorua and giving a little bit back as well. They're extremely cheap prices, so it's not a money-making thing. It's more just to tell people that when their friends and family and that come around, that they can come on out to Agri-Ventures. There's some great product out there, some lot of fun to be had, and this weekend only that all the locals can do it for $10 for most rides and $50 for bungee. So yeah, it's a great fun place to be this weekend, without a doubt.
Now when you say most rides, just let our viewers know at home the rides that are out here.
So we've got behind us the AgriJet, which is a little jet sprint boat, does about 0 to 100 k's in 4 seconds, so it's like the Ferrari on water. The Swoop, which is a giant swing, playground sort of swing, only 40 metres high, so pretty intensive. Freefall Extreme, which is a wind tunnel, so it's parachuting without having to jump out of a plane. The Schweeb, which is a very competitive little bike that rolls around on a monorail, and you can race against each other, race against your buddies. Kids love that one. And then obviously the bungee jump, which is the penultimate.
Yeah. One of the things we noticed when we came out here, Simon, we got greeted by your staff and everybody was happy and asking who we were and what we're doing, and there was a good buzz out here. You got music pumping in the background. So are you going to have the same sort of atmosphere on Saturday and Sunday?
Well, the staff that we have here are here every day, and they have the same attitude every day. They probably get the most feedback from anyone I've ever known in the world. You know, I've been all around the world, and these guys really ham it up for any customers whatsoever. They're really great, friendly sort of guys, and they pour it on for customers, and that's what it's all about. You know, the customers, unless they're having fun, then you're not really going to survive as a business.
How did last year's go? Because I mentioned in the introduction that was a big success for you guys. So yeah, obviously it was pretty good.
Last year's was huge, unbelievably huge. It took us by surprise. We've done it a few years in a row now, but last year's it really took off. Our marketing team really got them behind it, and got the marketing in the right places. We did 750 odd rides on the Saturday and about 800 rides on the Sunday, so it was massive, and we're actually expecting it to be even busier this year.
Wow. So in between times when people are waiting in lines, is there going to be things for them to do, activities for them to be involved in?
Actually, that's the biggest problem that we're facing. I mean, the rides look after themselves, but because we've got such big queues, we've tried to come up with different ideas and things to keep them entertained. We've got the Lava Bar coming in, and they're going to set up a DJ on the tower we see just in behind, just to keep the music pumping and keep them entertained. We've got the clowns turning up. We've got Kaitiaki and Tamaki are going to come out and do some entertaining. There's a couple of other operators that are going to be out here just to keep things rolling. There's going to be food carts, there's going to be coffee machines, there's going to be everything we can pour on to fill in those gaps when you're obviously waiting in line.
Yeah, there's someone just about to do the street now. Look at that. Nice.
And that really gets the heart going.
Not so many screams from that lot.
No, they're pretty used to it, those guys. But
obviously a lot of fun.
definitely.
Let's talk about the freefall for a little bit, Simon, because I've been skydiving. How close in relation are they, especially when you're doing the freefall?
It's exactly the same. I mean, the wind velocity is the same. The only difference is that when you come out to the side of our free fall, obviously the wind stops, so you drop down, whereas if you're jumping out of a plane, you haven't got that option. But as far as everything else goes, the wind velocity, the suits that we use, the style of flying is exactly the same, and probably the only other difference is we've got two guys there holding us, which you won't get as you're jumping out of a plane.
And you've got a safety net so you don't fly out over the top.
Yeah, every now and again when you get some very light kids and that, and they hit the right pose, they can disappear up into the net, so yeah.
Now, obviously, we're coming into the quiet part of the tourist season here in Rotorua. What are you guys up to for the winter season?
Well, ironically, we're not actually that quiet over winter. We June, July are a couple of our busier months because we get a lot of American school kids on their summer holidays come over. So May, this month here is our quietest month, but once we get into Junes and Julys and school holidays and that, we're actually quite a busy park all through winter. So we're pretty fortunate for that.
That's great for the economy, isn't it?
It is.
Now, what time should people get here on Saturday and Sunday?
I would suggest come as early as possible because, you know, usual story, once everyone starts pouring in, the queues are going to build up, and, you know, even though we can't get away from that, we're just going to have so many people here. Just the earlier the better, you know, and that fills in that whole day, spreads it out a bit more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, the last time we were out here, Simon, we caught up with the Prime Minister because you're opening some activities over in India. How's that operation going?
It's going great, yeah. No, we're still going. There's 2 more of our staff have gone over there, and they're spending a year operating that. And, yeah, no, it's going great guns. They're putting through a fair few numbers, and everyone seems to be happy that they've got a couple of Kiwis there operating it. Yeah.
They've got settled stomachs, nothing too rumbly going on there?
Not one. No, there's a little bit of a myth there. I mean, you've just got to go and eat in the wrong place, and you know, that sort of thing can happen. But these guys look after themselves. They know. So no, we haven't had any health issues whatsoever.
Cool, that's good news. Well, Simon, appreciate your time, and we'll see you guys this weekend. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it.
Well, obviously we heard about the budget last week from the National Party, and today we're going to be catching up with our local Waiariki MP, Te Rotorua Flavel, and we're going to be finding out what the budget means for Māori and the people of our great city. Kia ora, Te Rotorua. Thanks for joining us today. Now, in your budget speech at Parliament, you are full of praise for the government and obviously for the hard work that you and your colleagues put in to negotiating with them. But what does it mean for Māori at the end of the day?
Oh, well, there's a range of initiatives across the board that we've tried to address, things that may not necessarily impact directly on families through to those that do. So at one end of the scale, we've managed to maintain the amount of money set for a research institute, which had basically been dumped by the government. We were able to haul that one back. There's been a certain amount of money set aside for Māori radio. That many people won't suggest that it hurts them in the pocket or affects them in the pocket, because that's going straight to iwi stations. But on the other hand, it's benefiting Māori language through to things like the paid parental leave and the allocation of more time for parents to be with their children. I mean, that's a major plank that we think is quite important in terms of maintaining whānau, and the Māori Party from our very beginnings have always crusaded for the whole issues around whānau being at the heart of how our communities operate. So, you know, you've got a length and breadth of stuff that's in the budget, and we're pretty pleased that it's not just about Māori that benefit from that. So sure, there are some, Māori radio for example, through to the whole community, whether that be getting access to GPs and medicines up to age 16, you know, all that's going to be helpful to families across the board.
You mentioned that 47,000 people have been influenced by whānau order. Obviously, that is huge figures. You've got to be happy with that.
It's pretty good, but we, you know, around the country, the feedback we've had is that everybody understands the philosophy of whānau order and about trying to work with families as opposed to individuals within families where they have issues. But more importantly, it's actually all about empowering those families to make decisions in the best interests of the whole grouping. So many of them are involved in setting up their own whānau order plans, you know, to set in place things that keep the family together and build on each other's strengths. So we're pretty pleased around that whole scenario.
And you're also full of praise for the government with regards to the paid parental leave. That's awesome. 18 to 24 weeks. That's huge.
We pushed this pretty hard because we were aware that there were some anomalies in how the paid parental leave has been rolled out, because there are some who are, in particular Māori and Pacifica, who have been in part-time work that have not been covered in the past by this, and now all that's been wiped, so it opens up the door for all people, based on the experience of Māori and Pacifica, to be able to benefit from paid parental leave and having more time with at home, and also the tax credit that many will be able to pick up as well. So all of those are important in terms of allowing, firstly, having a real focus on the family, allowing parents to take care of our children a little bit longer, but also not being penalised for the fact that many of them have a different working arrangement, that not everybody's the same. And under those circumstances, we had to look at innovative ways to be able to deal with that.
Now, you mentioned the tax credit. Can you just go into a bit more detail about the increased parental tax credit? What does that mean for families that are struggling?
Well, it just means that they'll be able to have more money in the pocket at the end of the day, because it will be basically, as tax credits go, we'll be able to not necessarily pay out, but be able to have a rebate on the tax that they pay, while they're under the conditions that have been set out. So, I mean, in the end, if it comes down to the real crunch, it's all about that those people who are in a differing arrangement and having to care for children will have more money in the pocket, thereby be able to deal with the many issues that families face at the moment, because many are struggling.
One of the things that I noticed with the Australian budget is that they're taking a lot of funding out of health and education and put it into the military and science and research. What would happen here in New Zealand if the government decided to do something like that?
Oh, I think, well, you only need to contrast the two budgets. On one hand, there was huge increases on one hand and cuts of government expenditure in Australia, whereas our budget is pretty much steady on, keeping it going, keeping the pace going, but not enough to really cut into the pockets of New Zealanders. So my view would be that there would be a number of New Zealanders now in Australia who'd be thinking about coming home, based on the fact that they aren't going to be hit so badly by the changes that's happened in Australia.
Now, we're only a few months away from the election. How's your campaigning going?
Not too bad. We've done a fair bit of planning. We've got a good team. The people have done this sort of stuff for the last 3 years. Three terms. So we know how to do the campaign. It's just a matter of difficulties for me being now the co-leader, having to cover the whole of the country and therefore not necessarily having a presence back home. But I think we'll be all right. I'm pretty confident in the team that we've got. I'm confident in the support that we have. It's just a matter of making sure that we do all that we need to do to pull myself over the line. But I'm feeling pretty good, feeling pretty positive about the campaign, in particular on the back of the budget and the feedback that we've had about it. So it's all sort of starting to get in place, and looking forward to the campaign.
Well, you and your team do an awesome job, and a great voice for Māori in our country, so I appreciate your time. Thank you, Te Rotorua Flavel.
Kia ora.
That was Māori Party co-leader and Waiariki MP Te Rotorua Flavel talking with Alan Solomon. If you have any news that you'd like to share with us, give the station a call on 073488 984 or email news@tvrotorua.co.nz. Thanks for joining us tonight. From all the team at City News, for Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.